We are in the home stretch of this election campaign. And I want to say a few words about what lies ahead and give you my perspective on the decision that is left for voters. On June 7th, voters will elect a new government. I don't know who voters will choose. That is up to them. But I'm pretty sure that it won't be me. After Thursday, I will no longer be Ontario's Premier. And I am okay with that. Because as I have said so many times to the people of this province, it is not about me. And the reason I'm feeling emotional is it's about those kids behind me. It's about them. It's about their futures. It's about the kind of province that they are going to live in. That's what all of this has always been about for me. So, it's about the people of this province. It's about their well-being and their futures. It's about their jobs, not my job. As Premier, I have dedicated myself to fighting for those people. For the single mother struggling to raise a family while living on the minimum wage. For the student who earned the grades to go to university, but whose family hasn't earned quite enough to cover tuition. You know, Robert Quaife, who's running for us in Quinte West, said that's the reason he's running. Because he didn't have the money. His dad told him he had to go to work. He didn't have the money to go to university. For the dad in the 905 who has to drive for an hour, stuck in traffic each day, both ways, for whom expanded GO train service makes all the difference. For the adult daughter who does all that she can to care for her aging parents, while she also scrambles to find safe, affordable childcare for her own toddler. And for the countless other families working hard, contributing so much to our communities, and counting on government to make their lives just a little bit easier, their load just a bit lighter, and their futures just a bit brighter. Here in Ontario, we live in the very best place in the world. I love this province. I love its people. And even if I won't be leading this province as Premier, I care deeply about how it will be led. After a few weeks on the campaign trail, and with just a few days before people cast their vote, here's my take on where we're at. People want change. But by and large, they're confident about where Ontario stands and where Ontario's headed. For this reason, and I hear this over and over again, many voters are worried about handing a blank check to either Doug Ford or the NDP. With a majority government, Doug Ford would have too free a hand for the comfort of most people. They just don't trust his judgment. They don't trust the choices that he would make. This is a man who was only too happy to open up the Greenbelt to condo development until he was caught out, who mused about selling cannabis in corner stores where our kids shop. This is a man who has promised to cut $40 billion out of government services and pretends that that can be done without costing a single job or harming our hospitals or harming our schools. This is a man who has defended candidates who speak ill of others, who smear people because of their religion or their gender or their sexual orientation. I don't believe this is a man who the people want to hand Ontario over to without putting him on the shortest leash possible. And the sentiment toward the NDP is much the same. People worry about what will happen to our economy if the NDP takes power and form a majority government with nothing to hold them back. People worry that the NDP will raise taxes on small businesses, that they will take unemployment higher, and that job creation will go lower. They will permit strikes to go on, just as they have at York University, even after all hope of a negotiated settlement has been exhausted. People worry that the NDP will approach the responsibility of running Ontario's economy with a plan that is risky and is unrealistic. So it comes down to this. Voters are going to pick a new premier, but they are generally worried about giving that person, whether it's Doug Ford, whether it's the Conservatives, whether it's the NDP, too much power. They're worried about giving them too much of a free hand because they're concerned about what that might mean for our economy and for our future. And that's why a vote for the Liberal Party can mean so much. The more Liberal MPPs that we send to Queen's Park on June 7th, the less likely it becomes that either Doug Ford or the NDP will be able to form a majority government. By voting Liberal, you can keep the next government, Conservative or NDP, from acting too extremely one way or the other.